Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the full moon in Cancer that happens on the 18th of January 2022. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. This full moon takes place at 48 minutes past midnight, and that's based on Europe time. The chart next to me, that's a snapshot of the sky at the moment this full moon takes place. And I'm going to have a look at the planets and how they interact with each other, what this says about the full moon, and how you can take advantage of this energy and make it work in your favor. So the sun is at 27 degrees in Capricorn. The moon is 180 degrees away at 27 degrees in Cancer. So the moon reaches this moment in its 28-day cycle where it's completely illuminated and it kind of goes, oh, I can let go and relax and give all this energy away. So we'll be feeling a lot of Cancer energy. Cancer is a water sign that has to do with family, spirituality, love, the home, creativity, music, anything that gives you a sense of being emotionally cushioned and safe and at peace. What's interesting is because it's at 27 degrees, 2 and 7 is 9. In numerology, that's the vibration of spirituality and completion. In the tarot, it's the hermit. And the hermit is by himself and he is examining his own feelings and he's looking for personal enlightenment. So I don't think this is so much about your family. I think your family may be involved, but it's from the perspective of how is this making me feel and what makes me feel at home and what doesn't, what makes me feel alienated and why am I still engaging with this? I think you get a lot of clarity about what you want in life and what you no longer want. And it's so strong that it's almost like working to spite you. You know, if you're in a situation that really has run its course and it was over 3 years ago and you're still in it and doing it just for the sake and it's become a habit, then it's almost like that structure becomes crumbly and starts to exit your life, or there's the opportunity to have it exit without very much effort. And the reason I say that is because the sun's in Capricorn, so that gives you very cut and dry kind of thinking. Capricorn doesn't mess around very much with the intricacies and the details. It either says, is this useful in getting me to where I want to go or isn't it? So you're going to be quick to decide and there's no sentimentality here. So it's an interesting combination of this super sensitive moon in Cancer, which gives you access to all your feelings and all the inner workings of you. And then this super harsh Capricorn influence, which is like someone working a conveyor belt with products coming across and saying faulty, correct, fault. And it's like that. And Pluto sits next to the sun. Pluto is about change and transformation in a genuinely profound way when it sits next to the sun, because in the chart, the sun represents your conscious identity, what you want to become, what you're striving towards being. And with Pluto sitting 1 degree away from that, it gives you the opportunity to say, well, actually, the self is about to change. And I am in complete control of that. So Pluto is at 26 degrees in Capricorn. 2 and 6 is 8. That's power. And again, Capricorn is the sign of the worker. So Pluto, change, is working in a powerful way to alter the way you go about your business, what you do tolerate and what you don't tolerate. So if you don't know yourself at all, or you feel like I have no idea who I am, then use this full moon in Cancer, because you're going to be in absolutely no doubt about who you are after this. And again, I just want to put a bit of a warning out there. You know, this doesn't always feel comfortable. Personally, if you've watched my channel for any time at all, usually the full moon in Cancer videos are either I'm having a meltdown or I can't speak or whatever. It's not an easy time emotionally. But if you're willing to do the work, then it can give you this amazing clarity and insight. And I did the weekly horoscope a minute ago, and Uranus, the planet of the miraculous and the unexpected and what could happen, you know, that goes direct. So with Uranus going direct, it's stationed on when this, at the exact moment this full moon occurs, about to go direct. But when Uranus goes direct for about half the year, there are a lot more opportunities in your life that you can actually jump on, you know, things that you can acquire, things that don't stem from within. So it's a good idea to know where you're at and to kind of do a personal emotional stock take so that you can be prepared and ready for these opportunities when they arrive. Okay, big breath. We've got a couple of aspect patterns between the moon and other planets in this chart. So first of all, you can see the moon at the top there, the dotted line with a little asterisk in the middle. That's a sextile, and that means that the moon is 60 degrees away from the north node at 28 degrees in Taurus. The north node is what you're striving towards on a soul level. At 28 degrees, that's 10, reduces to 1 in numerology. And that's the vibration of the boss, the pioneer. And Taurus is about control of the physical world, the way things look, your living situation, your appearance, your bank balance, your career. So this isn't just like some random ineffectual navel gazing exercise where it's like, what am I feeling today? No, it's just about who am I really, what works for me and what doesn't. I've been around for a little bit now. I can see what affects me positively and what doesn't. And with this North Node in Taurus, how can I apply that to my work in future so that I'm actually working at something that I love and enjoy, so I can wake up in the morning and say, hooray, I get to go to work, and not, oh my God, another day. So that's amazing, because Taurus really is about, I'm in charge here, I'm taking control of this. Think of the bull. The Taurus is the bull, you know, it knows what it wants. The moon also trines Neptune at 21 degrees in Pisces. Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune is the water planet of your intuition. And in Pisces, it really gives you access to your higher self, the spiritual realms. 2 and 1 is 3. 3 is communication. So it's like you have a direct line to your higher self. And that's partially, I feel, why it's so easy to understand your own feelings, because they're amplified to the extent that you have to see them. It's like right there. The moon also, yep, I mentioned the sun and Pluto. It then also trines the south node at 28 degrees in Scorpio. Oh, okay. So it forms a relationship, both of them trines with it forms a sextile with the north node and a trine with the south node, but relationships with both. So the south node is where I'm coming from. The north node is where I'm going on a spiritual level on my journey on this planet. And with the moon and your feelings, incorporating both of these, it means that the things that you figure out about yourself and the choices you make based on that are not just random, again, inconsequential, little trivial, nothing details. These are significant decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life. No pressure, but it's important to look. This is what I like and what I don't. And why am I hanging on to things that no longer work, other than habit or convenience or comfort or whatever? Should I maybe let go and try something else? The answer is a big resounding yes on this day. So the emotional clarity and heightened sensitivity isn't there to torture you. It's there to show you where you're at and what you can do to change. The moon also squares the rising in Libra at 29 degrees. So the rising sign or the rising sign or the ascendant, that is, if I'm looking at your birth chart, I'll interpret that as your default setting, because it's the sign of the zodiac that was sitting on the horizon, and it's really what comes naturally to you. Libra is about community, other people. It's about taking a balanced, fair view on things. It's about beauty, creativity, communication, being articulate, and having the sensitivity and the presence of mind to see another person or another way of doing things, and to have compassion and understanding for that, even if it's not your way of doing it. 29 is 11, 2 and 9, 11. 11 is the master number of service. So with that default setting here in this chart, the Libra rising is going to say, don't just do this inner work and understanding for yourself, but also help other people with it. And no, I don't think that's true. I think that's going to distract you. If you think, oh, I've just figured something out about myself, these unpleasant truths that are important, maybe I'll tell someone else what's wrong with them. That's not going to go down well. Like if you just realized a year ago that you were drinking too much, you've stopped drinking, or not even a year, let's say 2 months ago, and you haven't had a drink in 2 months, and then you go for dinner with one of your best friends and you start to say, oh, that's your third drink. They're not going to appreciate that, especially coming from you. So instead, what I think this means is that the personal understanding you gain about yourself on this day will help your work and will help you take charge of your work via the North Node in Taurus. But I think it's also going to help your relationships because it will resolve some of this inherent friction that you've got in some of your relationships, because some of your behavior may be defensive or twisted because of certain things that have happened in the past and you're trying to protect yourself or others. So if I had 5 horrible relationships, then if I go on another date, I may be a little bit more closed off and guarded than another person who hasn't had those experiences. And because then I show up guarded at the date, then the other person, the new person who may have been very nice, may say, oh, there wasn't much of a connection because they seemed very distant and cold. So then it's not the actual interaction that was poor, but it was the way you're now feeling and carrying all that stuff with you into a potential new relationship, and that's what kind of prevents it from ever going anywhere, because there's so much negativity attached. I didn't explain that very well, but I hope you get the message, which is this: if you're able to let go of something emotionally that is problematic about you, whether it's insecurity or controlling tendencies or aggression or deviant behavior or whatever it may be. If it no longer serves you and you're able to drop it like a little potato, you'll be a lot freer and your relationships will function more effectively and will be more balanced. So that's the way the moon forms relationships with other things in this chart. But I just want you to look at something else here. If you tilt your head a bit, the first thing I mentioned, the sextile between the moon and the North Node, that blue line. If you now go to the North Node, you'll see the North Node trines the Sun and Pluto. Then they sextile the South Node in Scorpio, and then the South Node in Scorpio again trines the Moon in Cancer. And those 2 trines and 2 sextiles create a big blue rectangle, if you look at it this way, and that's known as a mystic rectangle in the astrology chart. And a mystic rectangle is pretty straightforward. It does what it says on the tin, right? It means that there's this mystical quality apparent in this moment during this time, which gives you an otherworldly awareness. And what I said before with Neptune and Pisces at 21 degrees, it's like the higher realms are talking to you, and that's why your feelings are so apparent to you. So it's interesting. You could say, okay, am I really seeing myself clearly in my feelings just because they're big and easy and I'm paying attention? Or is it because I'm being prompted by my higher self to pay attention? Or because I'm in that space where I can actually read these feelings, not because they're heightened or whatever. I mean, ultimately it makes no difference, but the combination of the mystic rectangle and Neptune, they mean that you have your emotional listening ears on, or your spiritual headset on, and you totally get it. And it is you. You totally get yourself in terms of, this is what's going on for me. This is what I'm feeling. Okay, so another just dumb example, but I just want to try and clarify. If you're having a conversation with someone, the other person yells at you. If you've never been yelled at before, then you don't know that upsets you emotionally. As an example, it might elate you emotionally being yelled at, whatever. But it does have an emotional effect on you, right? If you know that it has that emotional effect, then you can do something about it, and you can say, hey, actually, please don't scream at me. If you want to have a conversation with me, screaming upsets me. If you want this to continue, lower your voice. It seems very simple and straightforward, but you have to understand that about yourself. And you may think it's obvious, and it's like, well, Greg, everyone is going to know when they're upset. No, not everyone does know when they're upset. Sometimes it can be very hard to decipher our own feelings. It's complicated. But not on this day. And it's not trivial little nothing feelings. It's these profound emotional patterns that you've got within yourself that serve as your home. The things that you think about all day. I was lying in bed the other day, and I was just thinking, wow, Greg, your inner environment certainly isn't that of a Nobel Peace winner. Like, you don't think about the state of humanity or the next invention that you're going to create or public policy or how to make it better for humanity. The things you're thinking about are this and this and this. And I was just like, wow, you really need to read a book or something, or like challenge yourself. Because I was just like, these things are really not that significant, and this is what I'm spending my time on. And again, that kind of thing then says, okay, I do want to actually learn something new and concern myself with something that I find more important. And then you do it. But unless you realize that you're blah, 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 dissatisfied with it, you're not going to have that moment, right? Okay. I think I've made my point. Okay, and that's it, I think. Let me just double check that I haven't... Oh, no, I have missed something major. Between the moon and the sun, we've got an opposition, but then the sun, it squares the rising in Libra, and the rising in Libra also squares the moon in Cancer, and that's called a T-square. It's half of a grand cross. So a T-square is a big red triangle, and that's an area of unresolved friction. And the thing that may be confusing on this day, like I stepped into it when I looked at the rising in Libra, do I focus on myself and my feelings and working through those and getting clarity for myself? Or do I people please, if you're going to put it in an extreme word? Do I take care of other people's needs excessively? Do I concern myself with what's going on around me rather than within? That T-square says, please, 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 do the inner work, because that's what's going to serve you much more effectively moving forward than, knowing that your Aunt Susan gets cranky if she has low blood sugar and you go running around looking for a piece of cake. Okay? Doing the inner work is going to help you a lot more. Yep. Okay. So modes. In terms of the modes, most of them are cardinal on this day. That's about taking charge of things. So you're very much in control here, emotionally and practically. And then the strongest element is Earth. And Earth is about all those things that have to do with money and security, etc. So the things that you start to understand internally, they're then going to translate into practical changes. I don't like my job. I understand that today. I accept it. I embrace it. In future will mean that I'm in a different position, which looks very differently. So these feelings and insights aren't nothing. They're the most important things that you can work with, because they're about you and what's going on for you. And I do think that's it now. Let me just double check. Got another T-square, but it doesn't really connect the moon. No, it doesn't connect the moon. It connects the north node, the midheaven in Leo at 8 degrees with Uranus in Taurus and Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. But these are the things that I haven't spoken about at all in this chart because they haven't connected with the moon. And I think this is a very subtle kind of side influence. Let's see what it is. The Leo moon at 8 degrees wants you to put yourself at on the stage of your own life, to make yourself the top priority. Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius allow you to make up your own rules and to break free of the confines of your regular thinking. And Uranus in Taurus as well says, I like change, I don't like fitting in. It's much better to blow things up than to mend them, Uranus says. And the thing that's working behind the scenes is that your grip on, or your tendency to be blinkered and to be influenced by rules and conventions and societal norms and expectations, they're very weak. You don't feel those so much. That's why you have the freedom to explore your own feelings and what your own rules are. So you flip things and take your power back. So it looks super encouraging, especially for a full moon in Cancer. I mean, I hope you have a great time. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. I use astrology and tarot and numerology in my personal reading. So the way I just combine the numbers with the planets, I combine all three in my private sessions. And if you have any questions about your life purpose, your career, your relationships, finances, travel, business or my own business, romance, children, family, communication, personal development, spiritual development, anything at all really, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. I use the natal chart to get a better understanding of who you are. The transits and the progress chart show me what's coming up in future for you and how you've changed over time. And the astrocartography is a great tool to see what parts of the world are going to work for you and which ones aren't. So if you have questions about any of that, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing time here during this full moon. And I'll speak to you for the daily tarot readings, the weekly horoscopes, and these videos on the full moons and new moons and eclipses. All the best, and I'll speak to you soon.